Hello and welcome to this really international episode of RetroKork. Why is it international, you ask? Well, because of World Games, of course.
RetroKork.
In World Games, you participate in various different sports activities all around the globe. And seeing as this is an Epyx game, you do so in the style we have explored previously in the games Summer Games 2, Winter Games, and yeah, to an extent it's even California Games. Unlike the Summer and Winter Games games, this game does not have an opening ceremony, and thank goodness for that. Instead, you're sent to the main menu right off the bat after the animated title screen. Here you can compete in all events, compete in some events, compete in one event, train, see the high scores, set the number of joysticks available, and turn the travelogue on or off. The travelogue is basically a short snippet of information on the event you're going to participate in, as well as on the location sometimes. It's basically the only link we have that gives these events some semblance of being unified. But enough talk, let's get into the game proper. First, like with the Summer and Winter Games series, you enter your name and pick a country. And yes, Australia still is represented by Waltzing Matilda. The first competition you encounter is weightlifting in Russia. Here you have to deal with not one style, but two styles. The first one is the so-called snatch, and you can lift up to 225 kilograms. To do the snatch, first pull down on your joystick to grab the bar of the weight, then up to lift it up, then down to shove your body basically under the bar, and then up all the way to stand secure. Then you'll have to keep this pose until the two white lights go off. After that, you then go down with your joystick to put it down again. Now, the other method, the clean and jerk, is done with the same movements, but in a different style, of course. So, let me demonstrate for you. First, you go down and grab the bar, obviously. Then push up a little bit, pull down to squat and rest the bar on your chest. Then up again, then down to jerk the bar above your head, so to speak. And then finally up to stand properly. Then again, the two white lights, and then lower the bar by pulling down on the joystick. After you successfully lifted the weight 3 times for each style, or like I do usually failed 6 times, or anything in between, it's time for a short medal ceremony, and after that it's time to head back onto the Continental Airlines plane into the wonderland that is wintry Germany, where you're going to jump over barrels. That's not very German, but hey, originally Epyx wanted to do soccer, or football as we Europeans call it, but it turned out that that would have been too big a game, and they didn't want to go for a watered down version. So yeah, you're jumping over barrels now. Here you set the amount of barrels you want to jump over by your joystick going left or right. Do some speed skating by going left, right, left, right, left, right. You jump with fire when you reach the small flag. And when you want to land, well, you pull down on your joystick. If you crash land, your butt ends up in the water. After those ceremonies that are inevitable because they're an Epyx games staple, you're off to Acapulco for some cliff diving. This is a bit like diving in the Summer Games series, but then again, here you have to deal with changing water depth, wind, and just in case you didn't notice, rocks. There's an entire face full of it. You get to pick the height from which you want to jump off first. Then you jump off when the water is rising. If the water's too low, when you reach water level, you'll hit your head on the ground. You also need to straighten out at the right time by pulling the joystick down, pushing it up from that diving position. Makes you more resistant to the wind. Let me tell you one thing, I couldn't make that jump even if I tried my darndest. Now, you know the drill. The next contest takes you to Chamonix, France, where the first Winter Olympic Games of the new time took place in 1924. And here you do slalom skiing, and skiing comes from Norway and is multiple thousand years old. This game is played as you'd expect. You turn left from your top-down perspective by pushing to the left and vice versa. Try not to miss too many gates as you get a penalty for missing one, or fall and thereby get disqualified. You have 2 runs, so don't waste them. Well, now it's time to head to Canada for some log rolling. Because, well, I think that's what lumberjacks do when they aren't chopping down trees, skipping, jumping, pressing flowers. Seriously though, the travelogue tells us that it dates back somewhere around 1840, so the mid-19th century. So what you need to do is stay on the log, even though your opponent tries to get you off of it. So what you need to do is stay on the log, even though your opponent tries to get you off of it. You walk by going from the left to the right and back again with your joystick. Go left, right, left, right, left, right. And you can reverse by pressing fire. You need to fit the tempo though, or otherwise you will fall off the log as soon as it turns, like I usually do, because I'm no master of the contest. After that we're just heading south of the Canadian border and into New Mexico, I believe, for some bull riding. Could be Arizona. Here you have to keep yourself on the bull as long as possible. You can pick a bull with up and down, and you start proper by pressing fire. Then it's time to try and stay on the bull, which I always fail, but then again, that's kind of expected right now. Okay, after that it's time to head to the UK, to the Scottish Highlands to be exact, for some, and I hope I didn't murder this, caber toss. Unlike in the real world, here the only thing that's measured is the distance. In the real world, the direction the caber falls in is much more important than the distance. because after all, these things are heavy tree trunks. In the game you move forward by going left, right, then prepare for the toss by pushing fire for longer, and you complete the toss by releasing fire. Make sure the caber does a full flip, otherwise you end up having blown one of your 3 attempts. And the final contest is sumo wrestling, which is, well, it's sumo wrestling. You try to push your opponent out of the ring or force them to hit the ground with anything other than their feet. So there is a slight similarity to the rules of Greco-Roman wrestling. The moves and their names are obviously in the manual, and even though I'm a bit rotund, I'm not a sumo wrestler, so leave that to the pros. I'm not even very good at sumo wrestling in the game. Actually, I suck. And that's basically it about World Games. Now there is a game called Alternative World Games, but that's not an Epyx title. It's basically a parody. In 2 weeks, we enter a completely different world. The world of The Bard's Tale, which is an RPG series. So, bring your dice.